Have you ever wondered why certain women walk into a room and everything shifts before they even say a word? That experience isn't magic, it isn't luck, and it isn't an accident. It's the quiet force of a strong aura, an energy shaped by the challenges they've faced, the choices they've made, and the strength they've built when nobody was watching. And if you're hearing this right now, there's a reason. A part of you knows this force lives inside you too. Even if life has tried to make you forget, some women carry a presence that simply cannot be copied. It's not loud, it doesn't need to be. It's made of calm confidence, emotional clarity, and an inner steadiness that people feel even if they don't understand why. This presence is born from surviving moments that could have broken them, yet choosing to rise anyway. It comes from trusting themselves, listening to their intuition, and standing firm even when the world pushes back. A powerful aura isn't something you show. It's something you become. You've probably had moments where people reacted to you in ways that surprised you. They looked a little longer. They paused before speaking. They changed their tone. They sensed something in you that even you didn't fully see at the time. And maybe you brushed it off, thinking it meant nothing. But it wasn't nothing. It was your energy speaking before you did. It was your strength showing through the cracks of your past. It was the quiet resilience you've built, slowly rising to the surface. A woman with a powerful aura doesn't have to demand attention. She receives it without effort. Her presence speaks louder than her voice. Her calm carries weight. Her silence shows certainty. She doesn't need to prove who she is because she already knows. And that awareness radiates from the way she moves, breathes, and responds. This kind of presence is rare, and people feel it right away. Some admire it, some fear it, but no one ignores it. And here is what you need to hear. If you stay with this message, you'll understand exactly why that same force lives inside you. You'll notice the traits you've overlooked, the strengths you've pushed aside, and the power you've carried without recognizing it. You'll understand why you've always felt different, why you think deeper, why you sense things others don't. That feeling isn't a flaw, it's a sign that your aura holds a depth many people can't understand or handle. The real gift of listening is this: once you understand what makes your aura powerful, you won't let anyone dim it again. You'll stop shrinking to make others feel comfortable. You'll stop doubting the strength that has always been yours. You'll start moving with intention, clarity, and a presence that demands respect without you saying a thing. Stay with this, because what comes next will reveal the silent marks that only powerful women carry. And once you see them in yourself, everything in your life begins to shift. There is a strength inside you that has been speaking for years. Even when you felt unheard, it showed in the way you handled emotions that once controlled you. It showed when you breathed through pressure instead of falling apart. It appeared when you chose clarity over confusion, peace over chaos, and truth over the urge to defend yourself. This is the first silent mark of a powerful aura: emotional self-mastery. And even if you've doubted it, you've practiced it far more often than you think. You know what it feels like to stay steady when someone expects you to break. You've experienced moments when people pushed your buttons, hoping you'd explode, but you stayed calm. What they never understood was that your calm didn't mean emptiness. It meant control. It meant emotional intelligence learned through struggle, not given by chance. While others react from fear or insecurity, you respond from understanding. You've learned to watch your thoughts and feelings without letting them control your voice. That discipline radiates from you. People feel it even when you say nothing. This steadiness creates a presence others can't predict. And when they can't predict you, they can't manipulate you. That's why emotional self-mastery becomes both a shield and a source of power. It protects your inner world from people who try to pull you into theirs. It keeps your energy clean, focused, and grounded. You don't get dragged into drama because you know the price. You don't chase explanations because you know your worth. You don't fight meaningless battles because your peace is too valuable. And what makes this so powerful is that it's silent. Most people don't see the work behind your calm. They don't see the thoughts you've trained, the reactions you've learned to pause, or the wounds you've worked to heal. They only feel the strength. And for some, that strength is intimidating. Not because you're wrong, but because your balance exposes their imbalance. Your clarity highlights their confusion. Your emotional control reminds them of the control they lack. That is why some people misunderstand you or even test you. It isn't about who you are. It's about what your presence reflects back to them. But the women who carry this mark don't let anyone's reactions define them. They know their calm is maturity, not distance. They understand that responding instead of reacting is power, not weakness. They realize that staying steady is not cold, it's wise. This strength turns chaos into clarity and fear into direction. It allows you to walk away from situations that once trapped you. And if you're listening to this, you already have this mark. You've been mastering emotions that once overwhelmed you. You've been making choices that protect your inner world. You've been growing into someone who handles pressure with grace. This is not a coincidence. It's the first sign that your aura carries a depth most people can't understand. And the more you recognize it, the stronger your presence becomes, your confidence rises, your voice grows, and your energy becomes magnetic. There comes a moment in every strong woman's life when she realizes her peace is non-negotiable. That moment becomes the second silent mark she carries, boundaries that are so clear, so grounded, so firm that they speak before she does. These boundaries aren't about pushing people away. They're about refusing to abandon herself. They form a quiet shield around her life, protecting her energy, her healing, and her truth. You've felt this shift before. The moment your inner voice whispered, "This is no longer for me." The moment you saw that giving someone endless chances was draining your own light. The moment you understood that being kind doesn't require allowing disrespect. These moments shaped your boundaries. They taught you where your soul breathes and where it suffocates. And once you learn that, you stop accepting anything that shrinks your spirit. Your boundaries speak for you. You don't need threats, explanations, or arguments. Your actions show everything. You move away from what disturbs your peace. You step back from empty conversations. You distance yourself from people who mistake inconsistency for love. You create space where your heart can breathe again. And anyone who tries to cross that line feels your firmness long before you raise your voice. This kind of boundary takes courage. It means letting go of old patterns that no longer fit who you're becoming. It means disappointing people who are comfortable with the older, softer, quieter version of you. It means accepting that not everyone can walk with you as you rise. But you do it, not because you're cold, but because you're growing. Not because you don't care, but because you care deeply about your future. People notice this strength. They see when you stop over-explaining. They see when manipulation no longer gets a reaction. They see when you stand in your truth even with a soft voice. Those who depend on control or insecurity will feel uncomfortable. But those who value honesty and respect will feel drawn to you. Your boundaries become a natural filter, clearing out the noise and keeping only what matches your growth. What most people misunderstand is this: boundaries are not walls, they're doors. Doors you open for those who treat your spirit with care, and doors you close when someone disrespects your value. They're expressions of self-respect, not isolation. They're reminders of what you refuse to sacrifice. They're proof that your energy is precious. And even if it took years to reach this point, The fact that you're here shows incredible strength. You learn that peace is built, not found. You learn that love without respect isn't love. You learn that protecting your energy isn't selfish. It's necessary. This mark tells the world you've awakened to your worth. And the more you honor it, the stronger your aura becomes. Nothing shines clearer than a woman who knows exactly what she will and will not allow. There is also a deeper force that rises inside a powerful woman, a drive that shapes her choices and sharpens her intuition. It is the pull of purpose. When a woman understands why she's here, what she stands for, and what she refuses to settle for, her energy changes. Her actions become intentional. Her voice becomes clearer. Her presence grows heavier, grounded, magnetic. This is the third silent mark. She carries a purpose so steady that no one can interrupt it, control it, or pull her off her path. Purpose doesn't always arrive loudly. It often begins like a whisper, an inner knowing that she is meant for more than the roles others try to assign her. It shows up as the realization that certain situations drain her simply because they don't match her soul. It appears as a quiet desire inside her wanting to grow, expand, transform, even when she can't yet put it into words. What matters is that she feels it. And once she feels it, her life begins to shift around that deeper truth. When a woman carries purpose in her aura, people feel it. They sense the focus behind her calm. They see the discipline in her choices. They notice the consistency in her actions even when no one is watching. She stops wasting her energy on things that pull her away from herself. She stops giving time to people who don't value her. She stops explaining choices that are made for her growth, not for anyone's approval. Her purpose becomes her guide, and every decision she makes quietly reflects that inner direction. This shift is powerful because it makes her steady. Distractions lose their pull. Drama loses its charm. The need to fit in fades. She no longer moves according to what others expect because she understands her life carries deeper meaning. And when a woman lives with purpose, she becomes someone others cannot easily influence. They cannot guilt her into staying where she has outgrown. They cannot push her into smallness. They cannot confuse her with mixed signals. She knows who she is becoming. And that sense of knowing pulls her forward more strongly than any outside voice ever could. Purpose is not about having every detail figured out. It's about having a direction that keeps drawing you forward even on the hard days. It's waking up with a sense of meaning that strengthens your resilience. It's choosing growth over comfort, truth over approval, and long-term fulfillment over quick satisfaction. This is why women with purpose shine with such powerful energy, because they're driven by something deeper than attention or validation. They're built from intention. And here's the part many people underestimate. When a woman carries purpose, she naturally lifts her standards. She chooses spaces that nourish her. She surrounds herself with people who energize her instead of draining her. She invests in her goals, protects her time, and honors her potential. Every step becomes a reflection of her commitment to becoming the woman she knows she can be. This is how her aura grows stronger, through alignment, focus, and a willingness to evolve. You carry this same force within you. You feel that pull towards something bigger, even if you haven't fully defined it yet. You sense that you are meant to rise, grow, and step into a version of yourself the world has not fully witnessed. That feeling is not random. It is your purpose calling. And the moment you choose to trust it, your aura becomes a force no one can dim, twist, or derail. There is a reason your presence affects people more deeply than you realize. The mix of emotional discipline, firm boundaries, and a clear purpose creates an energy many people aren't ready to face. Some feel inspired by you. Some feel challenged. Some feel exposed because being near a strong aura often forces people to face parts of themselves they've been avoiding. This is why your strength can overwhelm others, even when you're not trying. Your aura acts like a mirror, showing truth, yours and theirs. People sense when a woman cannot be controlled. They sense when her emotions are steady, when her mind is clear, when her direction is firm. They sense when she won't accept disrespect, manipulation, or emotional chaos. And when someone is used to gaining control through insecurity or confusion, your presence disrupts that pattern. It shows them that not everyone can be swayed. Not everyone will bend. Not everyone will stay small just to keep others comfortable. Your aura reminds them of their lack of discipline, lack of clarity, and lack of courage. And instead of looking inward, some choose to project their discomfort onto you. You've probably had moments when someone reacted strangely to your calm, when they took your silence as attitude, when they mistook your boundary for hostility, when they felt threatened by your focus. Even though you weren't competing with them, these reactions were never about your character. They were about their inner struggle. But you felt the tension because your presence naturally raises the emotional temperature around you. This is why powerful women must learn the impact they carry. When your energy is strong, some people will cling to you because they feel safe in your steadiness. Others will pull back because your strength forces them to face their weakness. Some will admire you. Others will misunderstand you. And none of these reactions define your value. They only reveal the truth about the people around you. Your aura shakes comfort zones. It exposes dishonesty. It reveals intentions. It shows who wants to grow and who wants to stay the same. This disruption isn't your fault. It's simply who you are. When you move through life with emotional clarity, a grounded presence, and a purpose-led mindset, you naturally create change around you. Some will welcome it. Some will resist it. But the effect remains. Your energy transforms the environment. This is why you must never shrink. Never lower your voice to make others feel safer. Never hide your intuition to avoid unsettling someone who fears their own truth. Never soften your boundaries to keep peace with those who benefit from your silence. Your aura is powerful because you earned it. You lived through moments that could have broken you. You rose from places others never witnessed. You rebuilt yourself with strength that cannot be faked. And those who feel overwhelmed by your presence are not your responsibility to soothe. Your responsibility is to keep growing, keep protecting your spirit, and keep walking toward the life meant for you. The right people will feel encouraged by your strength, not intimidated. They will feel inspired by your purpose, not threatened. They will feel safe in your presence, not exposed. When you understand the effect your aura has, you stop blaming yourself for reactions that have nothing to do with your truth. You simply rise, knowing your energy was never meant to be small. As your aura grows, you start noticing the world responding to you differently because you are no longer moved by things that once controlled you. You feel less disturbed by noise, chaos, or opinions that offer no value. You sense misaligned intentions before they're spoken. You notice how your reactions shift, how you pause instead of panic, how you observe instead of absorb, how you honor your truth instead of chasing validation. This kind of awareness becomes a quiet power, the kind that can't be taught, only earned through experience, reflection, and self-respect. You begin to value your inner world more than the image others hold of you. You stop fearing the loss of people who were never meant to stay. You stop tolerating conversations that drain your spirit or behaviors that insult your intelligence. You walk away from emotional games because they no longer interest you. You outgrow the urge to justify yourself because your choices come from clarity, not confusion. With each decision made from this place of strength, your aura expands sharper, deeper, unmistakable. This growth brings a calm that feels different from the calm you used to pretend. This calm is not a mask. It's not suppression. It's not pretending you're fine. It's the calm of knowing who you are, knowing your worth, knowing your life is moving in the direction of your purpose. When you carry this inner peace, people feel it. It makes you appear steady in situations that break others. It makes you seem unbothered by things that overwhelm most. But they don't see the work behind that calm, the healing, the boundaries, the pain you turned into wisdom. That's why your presence can feel intimidating. Not because you are harsh, but because you are healed in places where others are still hurting. Not because you're cold, but because you stop depending on others to complete you. Not because you lack emotion, but because you refuse to give your power to things that don't deserve it. This is the kind of strength that quiets rooms, not by force, but by frequency. It's the strength of someone who knows their worth deeply and refuses to negotiate it. As your aura strengthens, you become more protective of your energy. You notice how your body reacts when someone drains you. You recognize when conversations feel heavy. You feel the difference between people who lift you and people who only take. You become intentional about who you allow into your space. Not because you think you're above anyone, but because you understand how valuable your peace is. This awareness becomes a filter, showing you who can walk beside you and who must stay behind. What once felt like loneliness begins to feel like alignment. What once felt like loss starts to feel like freedom. What once felt like uncertainty turns into clarity. You see that each step, each boundary, each moment of emotional discipline, every piece of your purpose brought you to a place where your aura speaks for you. It communicates your standards, your healing, your growth, and your truth without you needing to explain anything. And this is where your power becomes impossible to deny. Because when you truly understand who you are, the world has to adjust around you. You no longer bend to fit into places too small for your spirit. You expand it, you rise, you evolve, and your aura, strong and steady, becomes the direction that leads you toward the life you're meant to live. Every breath you take right now is a reminder that you are still becoming, still unfolding into someone stronger than the version of you that once doubted, hesitated, or questioned whether your voice mattered. That old version didn't understand your resilience, your intuition, or the quiet power you hold once you stop negotiating your worth. Every time you choose clarity over chaos, you reclaim a part of yourself that was never meant to be given away. Every time you choose emotional presence instead of emotional survival, you lift yourself above the noise that once kept you small. There's a calm that starts to grow inside you when you stop reacting to every disruption, every expectation, every attempt to drag you into someone else's storm. This calm doesn't come from being perfect. It comes from alignment. It comes from understanding that your peace isn't a luxury. It's something you need. It comes from realizing that guarding your heart is not the same as shutting it. It means you finally see that boundaries aren't walls. They're pathways back to yourself. The more you honor them, the more you notice how much energy you once wasted trying to be understood by people who never cared to listen. Your strength now lies in your ability to stay rooted. Even when the world around you tries to shake your foundation, you don't move out of fear of losing someone. You move with the certainty that losing yourself is no longer an option. Every step you take grounded in self-respect creates a new reality where you don't apologize for having needs, where you don't shrink to avoid discomfort, where you stop accepting emotional crumbs from people who benefit from your silence. You've learned that silence can play a role, but it should never become who you are. Your voice is meant to rise, not disappear. What grows inside you now is a kind of power that's quiet, but impossible to deny. People feel it even before they know what changed. They sense the shift in how you carry yourself, the shift in how you speak, the shift in how you refuse to abandon your own emotional truth. This shift doesn't need approval. It stands strong on its own. And as it expands, You begin to understand that not everyone is meant to walk with you into this new version of yourself. Some connections fade, not because of conflict, but because your energy no longer fits the place where they stopped growing. Every time you choose self-awareness over self-blame, you step deeper into your purpose. Every time you choose patience with yourself instead of punishing yourself, you break patterns born from old wounds. Healing is quiet. It does not announce itself. It shows up in the way you stop chasing what drains you, in the way you no longer accept situations that shrink your spirit, in the way you stop investing in people who treat your emotions as optional. You start to see that your heart was never fragile. It was simply tired of being mishandled. Let your growth feel like a declaration, not a reaction. Let your presence show everything you've survived and everything you're becoming. Let your energy speak before you do, not with force, but with honesty. And as you keep rising into this stronger, clearer, more grounded version of yourself, remember that the world doesn't need a louder you. It needs a truer you, a truth that doesn't demand attention, but naturally earns respect. A truth that transforms not because it tries, but because it simply exists. There's a quiet awakening happening inside you, the kind that doesn't need noise or recognition to prove it's real. It shows itself in the way you pause before reacting, in the way you breathe before taking on someone else's chaos, in the way you choose intention over impulse. This awakening isn't about becoming harder. It's about becoming clearer. You're learning that real strength doesn't grow from resistance, but from understanding. It's the moment you stop fighting for validation you never needed. It's the deep knowing that your worth isn't a negotiation, isn't a debate, isn't something others get to rewrite out of their own insecurities. You reach a point where self-respect stops being an idea and becomes a standard. You feel the shift when you no longer rush to explain yourself to people committed to misunderstanding you. You sense your growth when you stop taking personally the behavior of those who cannot meet you with emotional maturity. This transformation isn't loud or dramatic. It's steady, disciplined, and intentional. You're becoming someone who moves with purpose instead of urgency, who speaks with clarity instead of fear, who chooses peace even when chaos invites you in. Your presence starts to carry a different weight when you refuse to take part in the emotional patterns that once controlled you. The moment you stop reacting to what no longer aligns with who you are, you reclaim power that was always yours. People may not understand this new version of you, and their misunderstanding is not your responsibility to fix. Growth often looks like distance, not because you've grown cold, but because you're now selective. You've learned to honor your energy as something sacred. And that means you no longer give anyone casual access to your inner world. There is freedom in seeing that you don't need to prove your worth to anyone who cannot see it. You don't need to shrink to be tolerated or exaggerate yourself to be noticed. You don't need to chase closure from people who were never capable of giving clarity. What you need has always been within you. The courage to say your needs out loud, the strength to walk away from disrespect, the awareness to stop forcing connections that drain you. Your growth shows itself in the boundaries you create, the silence you choose, the standards you hold. What once triggered you now teaches you. What once weakened you now sharpens you. What once broke you now builds you. You're stepping into a version of yourself that finally understands peace isn't found in the absence of problems, but in the presence of emotional sovereignty. You're not becoming less emotional. You're becoming more intentional with your emotions. You're not becoming distant. You're becoming grounded. You're not becoming indifferent. You're becoming aligned with what actually feeds your spirit. Every moment you invest in self-understanding becomes a moment where you release old patterns without guilt. You're no longer trying to be everything for everyone. You're becoming who you were always meant to be for yourself. And as this inner clarity grows, you start attracting situations that match your growth. People who offer reciprocity, experiences that respect the person you are becoming. You're rising into a life shaped not by who hurt you, but by who you're choosing to be. Now you begin to see that guarding your energy is not selfishness, but deep self-respect. It's the moment you understand that not every conflict deserves your presence, not every opinion deserves your attention, and not every person deserves access to your emotional space. This clarity doesn't make you harsh. It makes you wise. You start feeling the strength in pulling away from situations that once consumed you because you now see that protecting your peace is a power move, not a retreat. You no longer pour into conversations designed to drain you. You no longer offer explanations to people determined to misunderstand your intentions. This new level of self-trust becomes the anchor that keeps you steady when old patterns try to pull you back. Your growth shows in the way you stop chasing closure because you've realized closure isn't given, it's created. It's the quiet choice to accept what happened, release what cannot be controlled, and move on without carrying someone else's behavior inside you. You're letting go of the need to replay every moment that hurt you because you now understand healing isn't found in reopening the wound, but in taking back your direction. You're choosing to rise instead of ruminate, to build instead of bleed, to evolve instead of explain. As your inner strength expands, so does your clarity about what truly matters. You see how many past struggles came from trying to be available to everyone except yourself. You gave energy to problems that were never yours to fix, sacrificed your boundaries to keep peace that never lasted, and held on to connections that drained you more than they grew you. But now you're learning to lead with discernment, not desperation. You're letting self-worth guide your choices instead of fear of loss. You're discovering that the more you honor your needs, the more aligned your life becomes. There's a visible shift in how you carry yourself when you stop seeking permission to take up space. You don't shrink your voice to avoid discomfort, nor do you soften your authenticity to fit into places that were never meant for you. That shrinking version of you has done its time. Now you move forward with clear intention, rooted in the truth that your feelings aren't too much, your needs aren't a burden, and your presence is not an accident. You stand where you stand because you've earned the right to occupy your space without apology. Every boundary you enforce strengthens your sense of identity. Every moment you choose emotional discipline over emotional chaos deepens your self-mastery. Every time you walk away from anything that cost your peace, you reinforce the truth that you're no longer available for anything beneath your potential. This is how inner power grows, not through force, but through steady and courageous self-alignment. You're realizing the world responds differently when you honor yourself first. And as this